probably do it because when Kira first came out as non-binary, we had a little bit of a noise here. I had a little bit of a noise. And it wasn't the non-binariness. That's right. It was really pronouns. And for some of you who are of a certain generation, pronouns would be really hard. But I respect that she was very clear about her choice. There's no that was a test. That's one test.
And so you two can stand up and you can say the blessings and blessing. Put on your titles. Amen. Beautiful. You two can have a seat. Thank you both so much. It feels really powerful to have these two talitot together. One representing just like tradition and family and like going back so far, and the other representing like brides in a family. And they're both just gorgeous. So proud to be up here with both of you and your new and old talitot. Let's turn to page 12. For Elohai Neshama, words that are traditional to say or to sing every morning in gratitude for the people that we are and the beauty of each one of us as we wake up every morning with a fresh new start. Elohai Neshama Shenatata Bi Tevoragi Elohai Neshama Shenatata Bi Tevoragi Elohai Neshama Shenatata Bi Turn to page 13 for the beginning of our morning blessings. We'll begin with the second stanza. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan nesach vevina lehavchin ben yom uben laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzalmo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokech ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arunim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rokah haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שעשה לקרוצו כי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר הכין מצעדי גבר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, עוזר ישראל בגבורה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, עוזר ישראל בתפארה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, הנותן לאף כוח. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המעביר שינה מעיניי ותנומה מעפריי. Page 19. ברוך שאמר והיה העולם, ברוך עושה בראשית, ברוך אומר ועושה, ברוך חוזר וקיים, ברוך מרחם על הארץ, ברוך מרחם על הבריות, ברוך להם שכר טוב לרעב, ברוך חי לעד וקיים לנצח, ברוך פודר ומציל, ברוך הוא ברוך שמו. On page 28, we find words that feel like springtime to me. They talk about people growing and flowering like plants in righteousness, and I think they're especially beautiful words to reflect on, not only on the first day of Nisan, the first month of spring in the Jewish calendar, but also like again, as we see like two young people growing into leaders to teach the community for the first time, and we think of what it means to us to be tzaddik, what it means to us to be righteous, and to flourish and to flower in that way. We've seen how before us flourish and flower, and the kind of flowers that we would like to bloom into as well. Tzaddik katamal yiflach. Tzaddik katamal yiflach. Be'eretz baramelon yizeh shetuvi beit Adonai be'atzot Eloheinu ya'aprichu oyenu zeva teshenim vera'anim yihiu veragim yashar Adonai zuri elo I'd like to invite up Ellen Shapiro, Kira and Ethan's maternal grandmother, to read to us a passage from the Talmud, from Ta'anit 23, Planting for the Future.
Talmud tells the story of an old woman who was seen planting a carob tree. As the king rode by, he called out, "Old man, how many years will it be before that tree bears fruit?" The old man replied, "Perhaps 70 years." The king asked, "Do you really expect to be alive to eat the fruit of that tree?" "No," answered the old man, "but just as I found the world fruitful when I was born because my ancestors planted for me, so I plant trees for my children and my children's children."
Asher Koch. Thank you. Let's turn to page 29. Asher. Asher yoshvei beitecha, od yadaducha sela. תהילה לדוד, אלוהימך אלוהי המלך, ועברך שמך לעולם ועד. גדול עלינו המאוד, ולגלתו אין חקר.
דור לדור ישמע מעשיך,
הדר ועבודותיך, ונבחריך עשיתך עשיך. זכר רבתך יביאו, וצדקתך ירננו. טוב אדוני לכל, ורחמיו על כל מעשיו. כבוד מלכותך יאמרו, וגבורתך ידברו.
להודיע לבני אדם כבודתם, וכבודתם מלכותם.
מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור.
שומר אדוני לכל הנופלים, וזוכר לכל הכפופים.
הנה חולליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אכלם בעיתו.
פותח את ידיך, ומשמיע לכל הרצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לכל תורה, וכל אשר יקראו באמת.
רצון יראיו יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיע.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל שעים ישמיע.
תהילת אדוני ידבר פי, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד, ואנחנו נברך יח, מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah. Page 32, we find my favorite psalm, Psalm 148. I love it because of the diversity that it calls our attention to among people, among living beings, and just among entities in the universe. And it also reminds me to give thanks for just like the beautiful variety within a room that we find here today, coming together to daven, to pray, to be in community, and to give thanks. Psalm 148, page 32. Page 33, we find Psalm 150, the final psalm in Psuke de Zimra, our sort of warm-up section of the service. And it brings up like all these different ways that we can express praise or gratitude. And I think this is a reminder, an opportunity to just be honest with ourselves about what it is we're bringing into the room this morning, bringing into Shabbat this week, whether it's like emphatic joy, whether it's just like simple gladness, whether it's a need for healing, whether we're grieving or mourning, whether it's very complicated, very ambivalent. Like wherever we're at this Shabbat, there is room for that here. And this psalm expresses that there's room for any of it. So page 33, sing together. Page 35. נשמת כל חי, תברך את שמך. אדוני אלוהינו, לברך כל בשר, תפאר תבוא ממלכתך. מלכנו תמיד, מן העולם ועד העולם אתה אל. ומלבלעדיך אין לנו מלך פועל מושיע, גודל מציל ומפרנס ומלחם וכל עת צרה וצוקה. אין לנו מלך אלא אתה. Verse 39. שוכן הדממה וקדוש האור, כתוב ונמצאים באדוני, השבים אל תהילה. Page 40. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ. כי לפניו לנו יחינו ולאנתנו במותנו ששפחה ובזמרה ובממשלה נצח גדולה גבורה תהילה ותפארת קדושה ומלכות ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך אלכי העולמים. I'd like to invite up Kira Ethan's cousin Niccolo Shapiro to offer a reading from Albert Einstein.
The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existence. One cannot help but be in awe when he contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, and of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery each day.
Thank you. Let's rise and body or in spirit on page 41 of the Chati Kaddish. יתקדש שמך הבית, בעד יברח חילותי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי חול וביום החול ובחיי דרכות ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי קדושה בריחו. לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. we turn to page 42 for the call to prayer, just take a moment to greet those around you, especially those you don't know. Give a Shabbat Shalom as we appreciate the beautiful minyan around us. Page 42, the call to prayer. You may be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tza'ur lechoshech oseh shalom ubarei et hakol hakol aduch. אם כרכך ואין זולתך. Page 45. אל אדון על כל המעשים ברוך ומבורך לפי כל נשמה גודלו וטובו מלא עולם דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו המתגאה על חיות הקודש ונטל בכבוד על המחווה זכות ומשול לפני כריסטו חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו טובים מאורות שבא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת ובינה ובשכל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושים בקרב תבל מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה נעזים בכל העולם שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם עושים להם הרצון בקונם וחרות נותנים לשתות סולה ובינה זכר מלכותו קרא השמש ויזרח אורה והתקין צורת הלבנה שבח נותנים לו עוד דבר מרום תפארת וגדולה שרפים ואופנים בחיות הקודש ישבח שמך לעם מלכנו כולם אהובים, כולם ברורים וכולם גורים כולם רוצים את פניהם בתושב תורה וכולם מקבלים עליהם ומלכות שמיים זה מזה ונותנים רשות זה לזה להקדיש יוצרם מנחת רוח בשפה ברורה ובנעימה קדושה כולם כאחד עונים באורים בהירה קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלכות הארץ כבודו האופנים בארץ הקודש רעש גדול מן הסד לעומת שרפים לעומתם משלחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו לאל ברוך נמות איתנו. Bottom of page 48. חדש הציון תאיר חדש הציון תאיר ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות. Page 49. Gratitude for unconditional love through our inexhaustible capacity to learn and to grow in action in mitzvot. Ahava rabba, ahavtanu, ahava rabba, ahavtanu, ahava rabba, ahavtanu, ahava rabba, ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu, chem lagadol v'terach amarta aleinu. We sing together in the middle of the page. V'ha'er eineinu b'toratecha v'dabek libeinu b'mitzvotecha v'yachel levainu v'ahava u'yira et shemecha v'lo nebosh le'olam ha'el v'lo nebosh le'olam ha'el ki v'shem kodshcha hagadol ve'hanora b'tachnu nagila v'nismecha b'shuatecha. We gather together the four corners of our talitot, envisioning a future in which all people are able to come together, safety and peace. V'ha'yiheru leshalom be'arba kanfot ha'aretz v'tolichenu komemiyut le'artzenu ki lepoa yeshut ata uvanu b'chata avodatecha v'kerachtanu l'shimcha hagadol sela be'emet lehodot lecha u'liachelcha u'liachelcha be'ahava Baruch ata Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. I'd like to invite up Kira Lo to lead us in the Shema and Ve'ahavta.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai v'levacha u'chamashecha u'chamashecha u'chadvarim ha'ela asher anochi netzavcha hayom al lecha v'shinatam lecha v'nikatam v'shitaka v'techa v'vatcha v'derech v'shofcha v'lecha v'shofcha alecha v'hayu t'tufot b'neinecha v'yuchatam al mizuzot beitecha u'yisharecha.
We continue silently through page 54. Adonai Elohechem Emet. I'd like to invite up the Lowe's family friend Ellen Coe to offer some words from Harvey Milk.
It takes no compromise to give people their rights. It takes no money to respect the individual. It takes no political deal to give people freedom. It takes no survey to remove repression.
Thank you so much. With those words, we move into words sung by our ancestors as they fled from enslavement into a future of freedom. Micha Mocha, page 57. Tehilot le'elyon baruch hu umborach Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Yisrael lechanu shira b'simcha rabba v'amru chulam. Mi ambocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Dora tehilot osef eleh Dora tehilot osef eleh Shira chadashat shivchu ga'ulim leshimcha Azafat hayam Yachad kulam Oru ba'im lechu v'amru Adonai gimlo In just a moment, we'll rise for the Amidah, our standing prayer, an opportunity to stand together facing the same direction. Even those on live stream will all face Jerusalem. For us, that's east. Probably for most live streamers, that's east as well. And Ethan and Kira will lead us in the first three blessings together. And then we'll take time for silent prayer, silent reflection, engaging with the words on the page or the words in our hearts, eventually having a seat whenever you're ready. For now, we sing together as we rise in body or in spirit at the bottom of page 57. Sur Yisrael, Kuma ve'ezrat Yisrael, Uftechinu mecha, Yehuda ve'Yisrael, Go aleinu, Adonai tzevaot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'a Yisrael. On page 58, Ethan will lead us in Avot Ve'imot. Kira will now lead us in the middle of page 59. Yevuvot. תתקדש ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים יך לתור ודור נצח נצחים ועינינו תראינה מלכותך כתב עמנו בשירי עוזך לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. לשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. Amen. We continue silently. Continue on at your own pace. Be seated when you're ready. We'll join together with a prayer for peace, Oseh Shalom, on page 73. All right. I'd like to invite up Ethan and Kira's cousin, Fran Shapiro, to offer a reading from the diary of Anne Frank.
It's really a wonder that I haven't dropped all my ideals, because they seem so absurd and impossible to carry out. Yet I keep them, in spite of everything. I still believe that people are really good at heart. I simply can't build my hopes on a foundation of confusion, misery, and death. I see the world gradually being turned into a wilderness. I hear the approaching thunder. I can feel the suffering of millions, and yet, if I look up into the heavens, I think that it will all come out right one of these days, that this cruelty will end, and that peace and tranquility will return again. In the meantime, I must hold on to my ideals, for perhaps the day will come when I shall be able to carry them out.
Thank you. With those words of hope, we turn our thoughts towards springtime. And again, this is Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the first day of the month of Nisan, first month of spring in the Jewish calendar. And it's traditional to say some blessings and sing some psalms as Hallel, as praise during that time of Rosh Chodesh. So let's turn to page 114 for a little bit of Hallel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu likro et Hallel. Page 15, words that we'll sing again at Seder very soon for Passover. V'tzeit Yisrael mi Mitzrayim, Beit Yaakov me'am lo'ez. V'tzeit Yisrael mi Mitzrayim, Beit Yaakov me'am lo'ez. Hayta Yehuda lekodsho, Yisrael mamshalotav. Hayam Raveyanos, Hayarden Yisov leachor. He'arim rakedu cha'elim, Levaot kibnei tzon, Malacha hayam Kitanus. Hayarden Tisov leachor. He'arim tirchedu cha'elim, Gevaot kibni etzon, milifnei Adon chuli aretz, milifnei Eloi Yaakov, haofchi atzur agamagim. Chalabish lemaynu magim. Page 119, the middle of the page. Min ha'metzar karatia anani v'merchavia. Min ha'metzar Karatia anani v'merchavia, anani, anani, anani v'merchavia, anani, anani, anani v'merchavia. Page 120. Uzi v'zimrat yam v'yahi Yeshua. Uzi v'zimrat yam v'yahi Yeshua. Ozi v'zimrat yam v'yahi Yeshua. Ozi v'zimrat yam v'yahi Yeshua. In the middle of page 120. Yitzchuli sha'arei tzedek avoram odea. יודע, זה השער לאדוני, צדיקים יבואו בו, זה השער לאדוני, צדיקים יבואו בו. Page 121. Repeat after me. Adonai, Hoshiana. Adonai, Hoshiana. Adonai, Hoshiana. Hoshiana, Adonai, Hatzlichana, Adonai, Hatzlichana, Adonai, Hatzlichana, Adonai, Hatzlichana. Page 122, at the bottom of the page, our final blessing of Hallel. Baruch atah Adonai, melech mahulal betishbachot. All right, on page 75, we prepare for our Torah service. It's an opportunity for us to open up the sacred scroll of the Jewish people that has been with us for thousands of years. Its words unchanged, but the conversation around them constantly changing and constantly evolving. So we'll see that happening here this morning. Some very ancient words, and if you don't know what's coming yet, you'll see like very ancient words being read, and then some very new conversation happening around them. This is how our people both stays rooted and also keeps going, stays alive. So on page 75, I'd like to invite Kira to lead us in our first blessing as we prepare to bring out the Torah. And I'd like to invite up their grandparents, Lee and Ellen Shapiro, to open the ark. In just a moment, we won't open it quite yet. Kira, go for it. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. תבנה חומות ירושלים, תבנה חומות ירושלים, כי לך לבד פתחנו, מלך העולם ונישא אדון עולמים. Please rise in body or in spirit as the ark is opened. Ethan, meet us in the middle of page 75.
Oh. Bayom
Anachis, Velishme Kadisha, Kadisha Yakira, Ana Emal Tushbechan, Be'anachis, Be'anachis, Velishme Kadisha, Kadisha Yakira, Ana Emal Tushbechan, Ye'era Avakadama, Tetiftach libi be'oraita, Petashli mishal min delibi, Velibadecho amach Yisrael, Etabu chayin velishnam. Amen. Okay, you guys want to put your prayer books down and take your masks off first. Take your toes over your arms first so that they don't fall back. What do you want? Is it the white ice? Is that
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Kadosh Adonai, Kadosh.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh. Adonai, Hagedula, Hagedula, Hatikeret, Ve'anesa, Ve'ahor, Yehov Hashamayim U'ba'aretz, Yehov Hashamayim U'ba'aretz, Adonai, Hamamcha, Shabbat Na'aseh, והשתחוו להקדשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להקדשו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להקדשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. You may be seated. All right, so we are going to be chanting from the Torah, and if you haven't seen one up close before and you're interested, if you'd like to, you're welcome to come on up and take a look. It is pretty amazing. It takes a year to write one by hand. You're welcome to come check it out. If you look, you can see it's handwritten, and then there are interesting things to see. Like there's no punctuation, there are no vowels. So when Kira and Ethan and David, for that matter, are chanting from the Torah, they don't have any of that written down in front of them. They have to learn it. They have to remember it. There's also a musical notation that they'll be chanting called trope, which sort of is the punctuation, but it's not written down in here either. So they have to remember that. So they'll be chanting from Parashat Tazria, which can be found in the blue books on page 735, Leviticus chapter 12, starting with verse 1. And like I said, these are some very ancient words. Kira and maybe even Akira, they'll be talking later on about what they make of them and what we do with them. Again, they were written thousands of years ago, during a time when our people, as we are today, were wrestling with like what to do with our bodies and all the interesting things our bodies do. Their responses thousands of years ago were really different from ours today, but we keep these ancient words as part of the conversation, and we continue to evolve even as we hold them close to us. So for the first Aliyah, Ethan is going to be chanting, and his grandparents and his parents will be giving the blessing. So Lee and Ellen, Derek and Cheryl, you can come on up. Ya'amdu Derek ben Alfred ve'Annie, Chava bat Alyaled ve'Estel, Alyaled ben Alto ve'Pearl, ve'Estel bat Shmuel ve'Ethel, le'Aliyah ha'Rishonah. All right. So he'll be starting right here. So you can. You could. Don't touch it, Nick. Yeah.
Baruch Adonai Hamorah.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorah Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bacharanu mikol ha'amim. Natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. You can go for it.
V'daber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el bnei Israel lemor. Isha ki tazria ve'alda zachar ve'tama shivat yamim ki me nidatota titma uvayom chashmini mol sar olato. Wait, hold on. The sar olato Ushloshim yom, shloshet yamim, teshev bidmei tochara, vel kodesh, lo tiga el hamidash, lo tavod ad melod yomei tochara.
All right, so you can come back up again. Beautiful. Okay, ready?
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam,
Asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach. Ethan beautifully chanted, beautifully blessed. So Ethan, you can have a seat for a moment, but I'll have at least one of you, if not all four, come over here as representatives from the first Aliyah. But before we go to the second, it is our custom with the Torah open to take a moment to say a blessing for those in need of healing. And I know especially we're thinking of Ethan and Kira's paternal grandmother, Annie Lowe. So many of us in this room are, I know, but if there are other folks you're thinking of as well, and you'd like to say their names, you're welcome to do so.
Susan Cohen, Carol Taylor, Robert Kaplan.
And all those in this room who are in need of one sort of healing or another. You can find the words for the Mishaberach L'cholim, the blessing for healing, on page 82, sort of strangely hidden on the right side of the page under guideposts at the bottom of that column. I don't know why it's there. Mishaberach Avotenu מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishabeach avotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. We pray for healing, for comfort, and for strength for those in need of healing, and for all who strive to support and care for them. This time, we'll take a moment to say a blessing of gratitude for having been brought into this world in the first place, and gotten this far in our lives, and especially to have reached this day, the day when Ethan and Kira become the B-Mitzvah. And it's actually kind of interesting to think about, because even though they both already led a bunch of prayers, Ethan already chanted from the Torah really, really beautifully. Kira's about to. They'll be teaching us Torah later, giving speeches in English for us to hear. Like, all they kind of really had to do is just do some Torah blessings, which Kira will be doing in a moment, and Ethan will be doing after that. Everything else they're doing out of honor for their tradition, and just a desire to do this for the community. So that's why we say this special occasion blessing right now. We'll sing Shechianu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. At this time, I'll call Kira to the Torah as B-Mitzvah. Namo, namo, namon, havachot b'nei mitzvah, magolit mi beitcha v'derek la'aliyah hasheni. All right, you can go ahead and we'll actually touch right here with your talit first. Before that, take your talit and touch it right here, and then kiss it. And then I'll do your blessing.
Okay. Baruch Adonai Habarach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirvanu la'avodato, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Do you want to take your mask off? You got this.
V'im nekeva teled, v'tam'a shva'im knidata. V'shishim yom v'sheishet yamim teisheh al demei Torah v'imo yemei Torah levein olevahat tavi keves ben shnoto leolahat v'nyuna otor lechatat petach al hamoed el hakohen hikrivo lifnei Adonai v'chiper aleha V'tara mimkor dameha zot torat hayaledet lazachar ol nekeva v'imlo timsa yada desa vlaka shtetorim o shnei b'nei yona echad leolav echad lechatat V'chiper aleha hakohen v'tohera.
Beautiful. Take your talit and touch it to there. And then we'll do your blessing after the fact. We'll kiss it and then we'll do the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Adonai melech asher natan lanu Torah emet, L'Tabenu, Baruch Atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yasher, Koach, give your folks a hug if you want to, or they can come over to you, and then you guys can have a seat. All right. Beautiful. All right, Ethan, you're up. Amod ya amod ya amod, habachu habar mitzvah, aviv ben chava v'derek la'aliyah hashlishi.
Touch right there. Right there. Just touch it there.
Wait. Oh.
And then kiss it,
And then kiss it.
and then you do your Torah blessing.
Yeah.
No, not chanting. This
Wait.
blessing.
This?
Yeah.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher kirvanu avodato. Natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen. David's going to be chanting.
Well done.
And we'll do the blessing after. But stay up here. Stay up.
Amen. Vayaber Adonai el Moshe v'Aaron lemor Adam ki yavor b'saro seito sapachato v'heret v'hayavo v'hakar b'or b'saro l'negat sarat v'huva el Aharon hakohen el achad mibanav hakohanim V'ra'ah hakohen et hanega ba'or ha'basar v'se'ar b'nega hafach lavan u'marei hanega amok me'or b'saro negat sarat hu v'ra'ahu hakohen v'timei oto V'ambaheret v'anahi b'or v'saro v'amokin mareh min ha'or v'sara lo hafach lavan v'hiskir hakohen et hanega shivat yamim v'ra'ahu hakohen bayom hashvi v'hinei hanega amod beinav lo fasa hanega ba'or v'hiskiro hakohen shivat yamim sheni.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Natan lanu Torah emet. Ha'olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen. David, Ethan, if you come up. Blessing for the two of you. Yishaberach avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, v'imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. May the one who bless our ancestors bless Aviv, v'Galit, v'Dei Ava, v'Derek, who came here today with honor for the Torah, honor for Shabbat, and honor for the people of Israel and the entire community. May they continue to be blessed with thoughtfulness, integrity, authenticity, passion, pride for their family. May they continue to experience the love that they feel surrounding them today as they grow and as they continue to lead and as they continue to teach their community. May their community have the ability to hear them, and may they feel joy, and may they feel their truth. Let us say Amen. You two can relax for a bit. Maybe not actually that long, but eventually. We're gonna have David and we're gonna have Rabbi Julie lift and dress the Torah, and then we're gonna hear Kira and Ethan give their deep Torah, give their speeches. So David Hester, Just Chanted Torah, is going to be lifting, and Rabbi Julie Gordon, who supported Kira and Ethan as their tutor throughout their whole B-Mitzvah process, is going to be dressing.
Who was holding the Torah after class? Who's holding the Torah?
That was meant to be you. Yeah, awesome. Okay. All right, and they're going to take turns getting out of those chairs for their speeches, so you can sit. Okay. Oh, you don't want to? Or you can.
Yeah, just don't want to.
All right.
Please rise.
Please rise, the Torah is lifted. Page 83. Torah, Hashem, Sam Moshe, Yisrael, Elohi Adonai, Ve'am Moshe. Torah, 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 Tiva Moshe. Torah, 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 Tiva Moshe. Torah, 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 Tiva Moshe. Torah, 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 Tiva Moshe. Torah, 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 Tiva Moshe. Torah, 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 Tiva Moshe. Right, when the Torah is resting in David's lap, all may be seated, except for Kira, who's going to come up and teach some Torah.
Oh, okay. What is this? Okay. Preparing for this moment took a lot, and I mean a lot, of complaining about getting on Zoom calls and not having to do homework that wasn't from school. And my mom used to get frustrated when Ethan and I were stubborn and annoying about it. And I think when I look back at it, I don't think I enjoyed having to do homework. But I think this was like fun and interesting. I think something that was interesting to me was my Parsha. It's about like impurity in birth periods and skin conditions in my Parsha, which is the section of the Torah that Jews all over the world are reading this Shabbat. So it's about impurity, and that impurity meant that you couldn't come to communal religious events, which was the time. And at the time, it was sacrifices, and sometimes you were totally isolated. It says that if a woman gives birth to a baby boy, they are impure for 33 days and have to be isolated from men for the first week of those days. If she gives birth to a baby girl, she is impure for 66 days, and she has to isolate from men for 2 weeks. On their periods, women are also considered impure, and this time is for a week. It's messed up. I know. People with skin conditions were also considered impure. And that was until it got better, and they had to isolate themselves from the entire community during that time. I mean, it doesn't seem very fair. I think that it could be that due to their lack of like scientific knowledge and like how bodies work, people at the time thought it was helpful and good to like isolate people. Like maybe the isolation for women who gave birth was to help them recover from a hard time, like childbirth in those days. Who would know though? If a woman births a baby boy, it's considered less impure than having a girl, and it's. I think that's and it's like all these men making up rules, right? I mean, like sure, God might have made that up, but men implemented all of it. It's all these rules being made by men to control women's bodies, and it seems kind of familiar. Who's to say if women at the time wanted to be isolated, or if it was just something like and they liked that? That's how like society worked, and they liked that part, or if they just didn't like that. But you know, really would know. Men controlling women is still really relevant, and it's still like problematic. But I mean, women's rights wasn't as big of a thing back then, nor did it have the kind of power that it does now. I mean, like, what's keeping like the patriarchy, you know, so strong? I wrote this. It was more of a rant, but okay. So when I wrote this, it was mostly a rant. And I was like kind of annoyed. but so I'm gonna word it differently, but mean the same thing. But like, so shouldn't like men stop trying to control women's bodies? It's like people are making it like really impossible for people to get abortions, and like they need them, and there's also like wage inequality and stuff, and it's upsetting to me because it's 2020. I mean, it's not like a good year, but it annoys me that people should be able to get that people shouldn't that people aren't getting the resources they need and like equality. I mean, I think equity is better, but equality is like important too, and it's like not right now. The Torah says all this stuff about impurity, and I think I was definitely not raised to think that stuff. But I something that's think something I think important is like in relation to like the impurity in the Torah and like what's going on now is that Judaism isn't monolithic, and just because like the Torah says stuff, not all Jews are going to think that, because like I don't think that, and it's just like the Torah was written ages ago, and so it's like not as relevant, but it's still like important. It's still important, but it's not as like central. It's not essential to my life. I'm sorry. So this is why becoming a B-Mitzvah to me I think is going to be a really unique experience, since people are complicated, and like I'm complicated. Becoming a B-Mitzvah to me is like I've always known that I was going to do this. Like I've always wanted to have a B-Mitzvah, and it's like not really a coming of age thing, and it's not really like a massive transition. Like it's like sure to me I recognize this as me being older, and going to have more responsibility. Not that I'm still sure on that, but this feels really big. When I was writing this, I still couldn't believe that I was writing for my literal B'nai Mitzvah. Like I knew I was doing it and what it was for, but I felt like it should have I felt like I should have been felt like hazy or like in shock or something. Not looking for words because I still haven't figured out how I felt writing all of it. My dad's annoying. He says that I'm not a teenager until I'm in high school, and honestly, the thought of being in high school next year feels the same as becoming a B'nai Mitzvah. Like, is this really happening? The sensible part of me is telling me that yes, it is. I know it's happening, but I feel like I should feel saddled with like a huge weight, and it just hasn't hit me yet. I'm still gonna be the same after this. Like, I'm probably gonna feel more connected to my community. Like, this is me. Like I'm more than just a kid in this Jewish stuff. This feels really sappy while I write it. This felt really sappy when I was writing it. And I didn't take too much time to look back at what I was writing, but it feels true to me, so I think I'm good. I think part of this B'nai Mitzvah is a celebration of Judaism, and it's part of a tradition too. Maybe this whole thing is partially a celebration of the struggles lots of Jewish people had to go through just to have a weird kid and their twin awkwardly do this in the middle of a pandemic. There's this thing, it's super, that was very descriptive, I know. The thing is mine and Ethan's B'nai Mitzvah project, which is basically a community project for the people who go to DCI, except we don't have that many slideshows, which I don't think we have any. What we're doing is Ethan and I are going to raise money to buy kids in the hospital stuffed animals to feel some comfort in the hospital. For 2 months, Ethan was in the hospital, and this was back in elementary school, but it was like really hard for our entire family. I'm the one who should be up here explaining it at all, but the main point I'm making is that while he was there, he had this giant stuffed animal dog from IKEA. Its name is Big Dog, and that dog was something that helped him get through it. One of my mom's friends, her kid was in the hospital, and so we got her the Big Dog, and I was told that it really helped her, and that apparently their dog growls at the Big Dog because it feels jealous or something. So we want to do this for other kids who probably could do with a oversized stuffed animal dog that has been mistaken for a real dog. Okay, so now like the happiest part of this is the gratitudes, right? Like immediately, I really have to just let you guys know that I'm really grateful for Rabbi Julie. She tutored me this entire time. I would be like nowhere without her. Rabbi Julie has always been so nice, and she's always been really patient with me, especially on days where I was tired or not really doing well. But everything she did was so good, and I'm really glad I had her to tutor me. Next is my mom. I said this at the beginning, but I was not stoked about having to do homework for this, and my mom made me. It was frustrating, but my mom worked so hard and made me work hard, so I could never do gratitudes without including her. Dad, you're not Jewish, but during the time that we had to go watch services on Saturday and get the picture of how this day would go, you made us do it. I don't really like that. And it was kind of annoying, but I'll be honest, I'm still glad that you made us do it, because I feel a lot more prepared today after doing that. So even though you're not the Jewish parent, you supported me, so that's nice. Thank you, Rabbi Hannah. You're like really awesome. Rabbi Hannah's a great rabbi, and she's really easy to talk to and work with. Like when I was writing my Devar Torah, she just sat there while I mostly rambled when I was writing this. So that was really nice, because it helped me get my ideas out. And I got almost all of the work done when I was doing, like all of this Devar Torah stuff done when I was tutoring with her. I didn't actually work on it outside of doing tutoring with her. But then we had tutoring, and I was writing my speech during it, and then she had to leave, so then I kept writing my speech, and that's when I finished it. Also, shout out to Ethan, because I wouldn't have done as much work because I don't have to do as much work since you're here. But also, you did like a better job when you were working with Rabbi Julie, and I wanted to do better than you, so I worked harder. I care about you and stuff, and I'm really glad that we don't fight that much too. One of the parts about Ethan is I can rely on him to team up with me on our dad, so that's nice. And I'm also like glad to have a sibling like him. Also to my friends, I'm gonna thank you because I feel like I should. Also, because like you're my friends. But also I have to thank someone. She's not actually here, but I want to thank her anyway. Her name's just Miss Brady. She's my in-school therapist, and she's been really nice. She's not Jewish, but I've been able to talk to her about some of the things that have been bothering me or making me anxious about this, and that was really helpful. And also just like my feelings in general. Becoming a B-Mitzvah was hard and annoying, but I also kind of enjoyed it, so here I am. I folded a bunch of paper cranes and butterflies to make things look nice, which most of you will see later. I sat in my friend's basement a couple times on a call with Rabbi Julie because we had stuff to do, and it just happened that way. And I also worried about a ton about how well I would do during this. But like I did it, and I don't think I did a bad job. I think I did a good job, and I'm happy I did it. I'm also tired, so I'm gonna wrap the speech up. This speech was like partially a tangent and like a kind of passionate sappiness that was going on, but I think it was good and not a mess. All the stuff that I wrote is almost completely true, and I feel like I did a good job talking about my parsha and how it relates to the world, as in like the patriarchy in modern times. I think I talked enough about like my Jewishness and my feelings. I think, but I think I would like people to be inspired to put extra work into stuff, even if it's not very fun. Like I didn't need to go to the Torah services on Saturdays, but I did anyway, and that worked out. I mean, if you're doing something good, then you'll probably understand it better and have your place put in. bit extra work. Yeah. So Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, that's a lot. Thank you. Ethan.
All right, so first off, I'm not going on a rant for 2 pages from a Google Doc for 5 minutes. That's just not happening. All right. So for me, becoming a bar mitzvah is about honoring my Jewish family, especially my mom, because my mom was hounding me about it. Anyway, so I think most of you know that I'm atheist, and I did not want to be here. So earlier on, when I was younger, I kind of told everybody I'm Jewish. And I didn't really feel Jewish in the sense, like, I really didn't like going to the services and sitting there for 2 hours. And I just got really bored, which I feel like most kids did anyway. And I wasn't really interested in any traditions or prayers. I couldn't read prayers, but I don't, whatever. And I really didn't like Yav. And it was because, first of all, we had them on weekends. And no. And also because we had to sit there and learn about Hebrew, which I didn't understand. And I was just, being a child, complaining about it every single day. And it really didn't change for a while. I kind of just said openly, I'm Jewish. And then a while later, when I was 10 or 11, in that range, I decided that I really just didn't feel Jewish. And so I just went over to my parents and said, I don't really feel Jewish. I think I'm atheist. And they said, okay. I think that was really nice that they just, they respected my decision. And so I felt ever since. So I feel like a lot of people who may be Jewish, like, they follow, the beliefs and they think them. Me, I kind of just follow what I think is right, which I admit really doesn't always ending that well. Most of my decisions are pretty bad. So against my initial judgment, and despite how much I really didn't want to do this, doing this has really helped me better in touch with the Jewish community, in this case, Hil Havara, and just like I've been able to interact with them a lot, like clearer because I understand a lot more. So people put a lot of effort. So Rabbi Julie, Rabbi Hannah, my parents, into preparing for this and helping prepare for this. So it would be really ungrateful and disrespectful if I had just backed out and said I don't want to do it. I feel like a lot of people here, maybe bored. So I am too. And I can't wait for the party afterwards where I can just eat food. Because I need calories. So but what I'm really excited about is just seeing my friends, especially ones that I haven't seen in a very long time. And, from that are on different schools or just I haven't been in contact with. And I'll be able to talk with them, see how they're doing. And there was one friend who I wish I had come. He was from a different state, but sadly he could not make it. And because people helped me prepare and all that, this process has been hard and annoying, but it really hasn't been that stressful because I've been helped out by a lot of people. And I really, when I decided that I want to do it was really because, I want my mom to be happy because my mom really wanted me to do it. And while my mom really isn't super, super religious, she went through the same thing that I did here and that Kira has. And you know, she wants me to be in touch with my family background, which is extensive, and there's a lot of Jewish stuff that has to do with it, and that really has helped me get to understand more about art history. And also because I made a commitment already. I said I was going to do it, and so I'm doing it. And because I want to make my mom feel happy and nice, like most people. So I mentioned the service. So service is basically where you sit there for 2 hours listening to people talk and chant. And the last service that I saw, because of COVID, we were just in the basement looking at our TV. And I really tried to listen because, it would help me prepare for how it would go here. Like, the process of coming up and doing all that and taking out the Torah. And the services have actually helped me prepare a lot for this. And I feel like this B-Mitzvah has really helped me get in touch with Judaism culturally in general. So the history of Judaism and, people involved. And because it's important to the Jewish community, and that I should do it because it's just important for me to acknowledge that my family is Jewish. So, over the course of practicing for the B-Mitzvah, I really just, since maybe some family, like later generations, will also feel Jewish, it's important to carry that tradition and help them understand more about it. And I understand that it makes me happy, my family happy as well, that I've learned all the things that I have, and that I'm putting it all here to, just say everything and do this. So I want to thank Rabbi Julie and Rabbi Hannah for helping me prepare for this, like learning the prayers and the tunes, all that. And I want to thank Kira for doing some of it so that I wouldn't feel more awkward than I already am. So thank you to all my friends and family for coming here today.
Thank you. So, I'm moved by just how a B-Mitzvah can mean something so incredibly different to people who came into existence in the same room. Like it's pretty amazing. And in just a moment we'll be singing It's Time Key about the Torah. We'll be singing that the Torah is a tree of life, as we put it back in the Ark. And we say that because we say that the Torah is a living, breathing thing. And it's living and breathing because the conversation around it is continuing to evolve. Just this idea that a B'nai Mitzvah can mean wrestling with the Torah and wrestling with injustice in the world today, and that driving forward as a young Jewish adult, or that chanting Torah, studying Torah can be about honoring parents, honoring ancestors, connecting to community. Thank you for showing all that it can mean for the Torah to be living and breathing and growing, even as we are living and breathing and growing as well. So with that, let's turn to page 92. And I'd like to invite up family friends of the Lowe's, Lee Verbois and Richard Griziak, to open the Ark as we rise in body or in spirit. Page 92. Go for it. Eitz Chaim hi lama chazikim ba מאושר דרכיה דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיה שלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש חדש ימינו חדש ימינו כגדם. Asher Koach, you can have a seat. And you have to but before you come back up, actually, David will be giving our board remarks in a moment. First, I want to invite up Derek and Cheryl to offer some words.
We're not sure how we're going to follow up with Ethan's speeches here.
Yeah, so.
Go ahead.
I don't want to, but, all right. We will. All right. Ethan, you've been observant ever since you were a baby, always watching, taking in what's going on around you, and not in a passive way. It was clear that you were thinking about what you saw. You're also interested in the world and history. You often choose nonfiction books, including picture books when you were little, and you would really pore over the details. You don't just want to know what happened, but you try to understand why.
Ethan, you have an analytical mind and you make connections. You can reflect on what you've learned and your experiences and pull things together in ways that can impress and even sometimes surprise us with the clarity and sophistication of your thoughts. You clearly have your own mind. Sometimes this is written here. Sometimes it's a pain in the neck, but you know what you believe is right and wrong. You ask questions, and these are good questions about why people do the things they do, especially about politics and religion.
So Ethan, we appreciate how once you agreed to have a B-Mitzvah, you followed through with the commitment, albeit with some moans and groans. But then again, I think I moaned and groaned when I was preparing for mine too. Mom, Dad, right? Your accomplishment today is a testament to your belief in how it is important to keep your word. We appreciate that. All right, so Kira, we have some words for you too. So, I want you to speak your truth. You have your own mind and opinions. You are passionate about what's important to you. Let your strong sense of self guide you and keep you grounded. I want you to write your life. You are thoughtful, kind, empathetic, and you feel things deeply. You are drawn to writing, and it is such a good way to channel your thoughts and feelings. You have so many interesting ideas. We always love to read what you've read. We want you to draw your creativity. You also express yourself through your art. You're developing your own style, both with your realistic drawings and the more imaginative ones. I'm impressed, well, we're impressed by the way you can translate your ideas onto paper, and your joy and pride when you're pleased with the drawing is just so wonderful.
The fourth one is we want you to continue to embrace your activism. You feel compassionate towards others, and you care about what happens in the world. You want to help make the world a better place, and you want to affect change. This desire to give back is admirable. Remember to have compassion for yourself as well. Just as it's important to be kind to others, it's also important to be kind to yourself. And follow your interests. I've always said this, you get a lot out of life, out of your friendships, your activities, and even when we make you go on an outing that you may not want to do, you go with it, and when you get there, you make it a positive experience.
So Kira, you've been interested in being a B-Mitzvah since we first talked about it. The preparation process has had its challenges, and you have shown determination to get here. That conscientiousness and the ability to stick with something, even when it's hard, will serve you well. All right, now we've got some words for both of you. Oh gosh. Yes. All right. So even before you guys were born, Dad and I talked about how it's important for you to learn about your background, Chinese, Japanese, and Jewish, the history and the culture, so that you can have a sense of pride in where you come from. Attending Yavna and becoming a B-Mitzvah has been an important part of learning about the Jewish side of your family, of our family. I've often felt emotional while listening to you guys practice, hearing you say the prayers that I said at my bat mitzvah and that Jewish people have been saying for generations. That sense of history is an important part of today.
We've talked about the qualities that have gotten you to this point, but we also want to offer some advice as you move forward, transitioning into this next period of growth and responsibility. So do the thing that you want to do the least first. This checks it off your list and helps you build momentum for the day. And a very piece of dad advice. In matters of right and wrong, trust your instinct. Mom and I have observed that you both make good choices and do the right thing. You might not want anyone to know it, but you are good people. And don't be afraid to continue to be the independent, critical thinkers in the room. Consider all sides, but have an informed point of view. This will serve you well in school and work and in life.
It's so meaningful to have family and friends with us in person and via live stream. So you guys, we're surrounded by community. It's important to nurture these connections. I came across a quote from Winston Churchill that captures the importance of this. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. Be generous with family, friends, with your community, with each other. And you'll have a life that is truly enriched by close relationships. Congratulations on getting to this point. We're looking forward to seeing the people you become as you grow and become adults. Oh, should we do the reading too?
Yes. Yasher Koach. So now Derek and Gerald are going to offer some words from Rabbi Sandy Eisenberg Sasso.
All right. We wish for you to be a person of character, strong but not tough, gentle but not weak. We wish for you to be righteous but not self-righteous, honest but not unforgiving. Wherever you journey, may your steps be firm, and may you walk in just paths and not be afraid.
Whenever you speak, may your words be words of wisdom and friendship. May your hands build and your hearts preserve what is good and beautiful in our world. May you know that there is a people, a rich heritage to which you belong. And may you draw from this tradition and make it your own.
Yasher Koach. Thank you both. You can have a seat. I'd like to invite up David Texter, a lay leader of the Havara, to offer some remarks and make announcements.
Good morning. Good morning. Shabbos. Welcome, everyone. Announcements.
No, you'll get it.
Okay. Do the same. Okay. First announcements. What would a community gathering be without announcements, right? The first one is that there is still space for Havara members who wish to attend the Community Seder on April the 16th. That's the second night of the second Seder, and that's here in this room. All this information is going to be is on our website. So for those of you who want more information, that's the place to look. Sunday, April 3rd, tomorrow, there is a Rosh Chodesh drop-in opportunity. It will be in person, indoors, for families with young children, tomorrow at 4 p.m. Monday, April 4th, there is a Teen Tikkun Olam program. Tikkun Olam is the repairing of the world, refers to the repair of the world, and that's at 5:30. That's also here.
Yes, although it might be at 5.
Okay.
Check the website.
Typo on the website. Tuesday, April the 5th, there is a spiritual reset button and a short service with Rabbi Hannah on the Zoom at 9:15 a.m. Saturday, April 9th, Tat Shabbat in person, outdoors at 10 o'clock in front of Reformation. Saturday, that's the community Seder. Lastly, our monthly communal Kabbalat Shabbat will be held on April 29th. Usually we meet the third Friday night of the month. This month, so as not to conflict with Passover, we're meeting on the fourth Friday of the month, and everything is on the, as I said, on the website. Come on up, kids. In recognition of the hard work that you've referred to and that you've put in over the last 6 months, 9 months?
A year.
A year.
A year plus.
Okay, great. We have a couple of items for you. This is a certificate of B-Mitzvah. And I'm not going to read that for you. That's Kira's. And this one is Ethan's. And we have a small gift of our appreciation. I didn't know I was going to do this, so I have no clue what's inside the box. But I sincerely hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
And enjoy the day.
Thank you. Amazing. I know what's in it, but I'll just let it be a surprise now because that's more fun. All right, let's turn to page 107, and we'll begin to conclude our service with Ein Keloheinu. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Adonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kamoshienu, Mi Keloheinu, Mi Adonenu, Mi Kemalkeinu, Mi Kamoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Emalkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. I'd like to invite Ethan to lead us in Aleinu on page 108 as we rise in body or in spirit. You can be seated. And as we prepare for more Scottish on page 111, many of us draw our thoughts to those we've lost either in recent days or on their yard site this time of year in years past. Just want to name the names of Ethan and Kira's family that have come before them, whose legacies really are in so many ways being carried on as they grow into their own selves, as they teach, as they lead, as they try to share their truth with their community. So we're thinking of Arthur and Pearl Shapiro, of Samuel and Ethel Trapp, of Howard Shapiro, of Alfred Lowe, of Stanley Kaneshiro, Saichi, and Kame Kaneshiro. And I know and others as well, serving our guys. We're just listening, folks. So if you'd like to name the names of those you're thinking of, if you're in mourning, serving the art site, I'd ask you to rise, and if you'd like to say their names, you're welcome to do so.
My mother, real life.
If it's your custom to rise for the mourner's Kaddish, please rise. Page 111. Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei rabba be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imu. Amen. Yehei shemei rabba mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'al v'yitba'am v'yitnaser v'yithadal v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudesha b'lichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata ta'amiran be'alma v'imu. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imu. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mumav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imu. Amen. You may be seated. I'd like to invite Lorelai Grizak to just in Adon Olam along with Kira, the final song of our service, page 112. Lorelai and Kia, Ethan, come forward because in just a moment your community is going to be showering you with blessings. If you are receiving a blessing, this is for showering, not for eating just yet. Although eventually we'll all come up and enjoy together. Also, while this is happening, just FYI, in this Yav class, you can find the lead us Kiddush and Motzi. So you can start coming. Get ready to come forward in just a moment as well. For now, let's just relax here for a moment. We're getting close to. You think so? All right, in just a moment, we're going to sing together Siman Tov U'Mazel Tov, meaning that when beautiful moments happen like this, it's not just a good thing for all of us. It's a really beautiful thing for the whole community, the people of Israel, and the whole entire world. So we're going to start singing in congratulations, and when you're able to do so, a shower, hear it, and even with some blessings. Mazel tov, 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 brilliant. Ethan and Kira, the Yachna class, come on up to help them lead Kiddush and Motzi. We've got some actual Menashevis for this purpose, so anyone who started doing that at the mitzvah, I guess. Okay. Is there like grape juice back there? Maybe. Okay, go for it. One of you wants to. Okay. I'm making faces because I'm thinking maybe we should have grape juice and not Menashevitz for the. But these are B-Mitzvah adults, so you know.
Wait,
Well, no, you don't have to. Oh, amazing! Thank you. Okay, so this is. You poured them both. It's all good. Go for it. You can smell it after you say the blessing. Amen. Amen. Go for it. All right. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Thank you to everyone who played a role in the service and everyone for being here. There are some drinks and some nash in the back. Shabbat shalom, and again, mazel tov.